How's it going, guys? Welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about the draft pick ATM machine, aka the Columbus Blue Jackets. You just stick your card in, you get your draft picks. The only real rule here is your card must expire by July 1st, which seems to not be a problem for a lot of teams here. But today we're going to go over these picks, my thoughts on them. We already talked about the Matt Duchene trade and my thoughts on that, so we're going to kind of just skim over that one and skip over it, not worry too much about it. At the time, it was like, I don't know how I feel about this Matt Duchene trade, because I just don't know how I feel about where we are as far as position-wise for the playoffs and making a deep run. And then the Blue Jackets go out there later and make some more trades. And all of a sudden, I don't feel too bad about the Matt Duchene trade. It's starting to warm up on me a little bit here. But here we go. This other stuff is not seeming as much. First off, we have Ryan Dzingel going to the Blue Jackets and a 7th round pick of Calgary for Anthony Duclair and 2 second-round draft picks. I think that's a stretch. Now, Duclair clearly has not been on towards his good side lately, so they was looking to get rid of him. I still feel like he could have contributed to the team a little bit to just straight out drop him for 2 second-round draft picks as well. It's not like it's just like, here's Duclair in a second or here's 2 seconds. I'm just going to call it a little bit of the Kucherov effect, where you just play him with whoever you want. Play him with some 4th liners, some 5th liners, some AHL players. He's going to get him 30 goals on his season. Now, that is not the same extremity here for Ryan Dzingel, but Matt Duchene was playing with him for a lot of the season, and Dzingel put up 44 points, and it would be hard to say that a large part of that was not due to Matt Duchene, and those 44 points may or may not have raised his trade value, and may or may not 2 second-round picks for him. A 44-point player. He's going to the second line. And the way it sounds, he ain't even going to play with Duchene, which makes even less sense. I would assume you're going to keep them together. I don't know. I'd like to think you'd keep them together, spread the talent out a little bit there, have Duchene, Dzingel in the second line, and then Dubois with Panarin on the first line. That'd look pretty nice. We'll see what happens there. I'd like to think that'd be the idea, but more and more things are leaning toward him being a support to Pierre-Luc Dubois, which I don't know how I feel about that. Regardless, it feels like an overpay. We'll see what happens. He could play great for us, and I'm hoping he does play great for us, because we just gave up 2 second-round draft picks for him. It does feel like a smidge of an overpay. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope he goes out there and produces very well for us. We're going to need it. But if you're keeping track, Ottawa pretty much now owns every relevant pick Columbus owns for the next 2 years, aka their first and their second, if Duchene decides to stay with Columbus, of course. And then trade deadline day comes around, and the Columbus Blue Jackets trade away their 5th round draft pick, this time for New Jersey Devils goaltender Keith Kinkaid. And I look at this, and it's like, why? Why do you need Keith Kinkaid? He's had an atrocious season. Not what you really look forward to, but then I look and you look at all these other trades, and it's like the last thing you want to see happen here is Sergei Bobrovsky or Korpisalo suffer some sort of injury or setback where they can't play. And all of a sudden you put all of your draft picks into gaining these assets for the trade deadline just to be held back by bad goaltending. And I can see and understand completely why the Blue Jackets wanted to get a little bit of an insurance type policy here with Keith Kinkaid. And for a 5th round draft pick, I can live with that. A 5th round, completely fine with the 5th round draft pick. I mean, I'm not going to sweat over Keith Kinkaid doing absolutely terrible or absolutely great. I mean, it looks like a lot of upside, a little downside when you just give away a 5th round pick for him. I mean, Keith Kinkaid did have some pretty solid years there at backup. It's just this year with the Devils defense and everything else, it's been an ugly season for New Jersey. And then just when you think the Blue Jackets are done making trades, they're like, no, the trade deadline's going for another hour or two. I think we have time to make a few more trades. They go and grab New York Rangers defenseman Adam McQuaid for a 2019 4th round pick and a 2019 7th round pick. And all of a sudden, we have, what, a 3rd round draft pick left? I think there's a 7th. Thankfully, we went and traded for that 7th for Calgary. Now we got some draft picks to work with here. Maybe we can go trade that one away for somebody else, too. I don't know. Again, I guess it isn't much. A 4th and a 7th. You don't normally get anything out of the 4th round, so it's not something to sweat over. And normally don't get something out of the 7th. And by normally, I mean there's 0 chance we get anything in the later rounds this year, because we traded them all away. But normally you don't see it happen, so we'll give the Blue Jackets the benefit of the doubt here. One thing that doesn't get talked about very much, too, is just the pure fact that maybe we're not thinking about what the Blue Jacket scouts are talking here. Maybe they don't see a lot of guys that are deeper in the draft that they want to go target, that they feel like could be top 6, top 9, even NHL-ready players, period, where they're just like, you know what, we'll take the chances on getting rid of our draft picks this year and trying to go for that big Stanley Cup push, opposed to maybe taking a gamble on this guy or that guy in the draft too. We really don't feel that comfortable taking with in the first place. So, you know, you never know. We don't really hear much talk from that side of things, but if that is part of it as well, it's like, hey, they feel like the Blue Jackets feel like they can't get much with these draft picks this season, this year. you might as well trade him away and try to make this push. But that is the thing, though. You do risk possibly losing out on that 4th round steal or that 5th round guy or that 2nd round or that, well, even the 1st round. You would like the 1st round. But we did get a very, very good player in that 1st round guy. Regardless, Adam McQuaid, he comes along. Ryan Murray's having injuries right now. And again, we talk about the Blue Jackets wanting to bolster up that defense, get a depth guy. He is more of a depth guy, if I'd have to assume. Again, though, you're giving up a 4th, you're giving up a 7th. I guess that's the best they can get for him. Because obviously, if they could have, you know, I would hate to see it. Imagine if we still had draft picks left. The Blue Jackets be like, you know what? I'm surprised we didn't give up the 3rd. We give the 4th and the 7th. You might as well, though. At this point, they're this heavily invested, the Blue Jackets are, you might as well just go all in because you already invested so heavily on trying to get the, you know, to the Stanley Cup at this point. At the beginning of all of this, I was like, I'm not really feeling it. I am not feeling it, but now the Blue Jackets got me excited now. The fact that they're this confident that we can make a deep playoff run this year, that we put this much into the team at the trade deadline, I'm pretty excited to see what's going to happen here. What are you guys thinking on these trades? Can we just call this the Columbus Blue Jacket trade deadline or the disbursement of our draft picks before the draft happens? I don't know. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.